Welcome to National Treasures, Signs and Symbols of the Founding Fathers. There are mysteries connected with the spiritual and mythological symbols chosen by the Founding Fathers to represent America and their intentions. Symbols played an essential role in the American Revolution and helped define America. Today, these symbols are being re-examined by a wide audience. Tremendous interest rages in the religious beliefs of the Founding Fathers. Were they deists who believed in a creator but not his son? Or were they Christians? Or were they something else? By examining the symbols chosen by the Founding Fathers to represent themselves and their nation, we can bring tremendous insight into the beliefs and intentions of the Founding Fathers. In this presentation, we will survey the signs and symbols chosen by the Founding Fathers to represent their ideals and intentions. As an investigative mythologist, I use the comparative method. Symbols are like water. As they pour through a culture or a civilization, they accumulate meanings throughout time. And similar to a geologist who digs into soil, a mythologist can tunnel through time and dig to the original meaning of a symbol, and thereby reclaim the original essence or energy of that symbol. In fact, the ancients believed that if they could recover the original meaning of a symbol, they could put themselves in attunement or resonance with that symbol and in fact embody that energy of the symbol. Corporations, sports teams use this exact process in the selection of their logos. So too did the Founding Fathers in the selection of the signs and symbols that they used to represent their ideals and intentions for the founding of the United States of America. Let's begin with the primary symbol chosen by the Founding Fathers to represent America, the goddess. This 1855 photograph is sculptor Thomas Crawford's statue of America. America is attired in a cape or cloak of stars and a liberty cap. She is dressed exactly like Mithras, an ancient Indo-Iranian god whose mystery school spread to Greece and Rome in the 1st century BC. His titles included Lord of Light, Giver of Bliss, and the Victorious. Mithras wore a liberty cap that symbolized divine knowledge and the opening of the eye of light. When the eye of light is open, one is enlightened and spiritual power flows into the individual, hence the cloak of stars. Liberty caps were used as the symbol of freedom by French and American revolutionaries who fought for and established the rights of the citizen to liberty, equality under the law, the right of private property, and asserted the separation of powers. The historian Herodotus said there was a feminine Mithra. It is likely this is why this goddess was chosen by the Founding Fathers to represent America, a nation of enlightenment, where individuals were free to pursue an enlightened path and to achieve freedom of spirit and of soul. Here, America poses beside two other key American symbols, the eagle and the rising sun, another symbol of illumination. The eagle is the symbol for all the sky gods, who early on were portrayed as eagle men. It is the eagle-headed goddess Freedom who stands atop the U.S. Capitol. In this 1871 photograph, the eagle represents the goddess. The eagle is an important American symbol because, symbolists say, it represents the spiritual principle, liberation, ascension, and release from bondage. And that part of humanity that is able to soar heavenwards and stare into the sun. For these reasons, the eagle and America go together. Another goddess is Liberty. Lady Liberty was not just an abstract personification of freedom to the Founding Fathers. Early American art makes clear that she is the Greek Athena and Minerva, goddess of wisdom, philosophy, and war. It is Minerva who appears on Thomas Jefferson's presidential coin, along with the eagle and the liberty pole and liberty cap. She also appears as the muse of Thomas Jefferson. For a gold Liberty Medal presented to the King of France, Benjamin Franklin chose Minerva, holding a shield over the infant Hercules, the United States. Some see Minerva's owl peeking from behind the $1 bill. In the ancient world, this goddess raised a healing pole, a la Moses lifting the serpent of healing in the wilderness. In the days of the American Revolution, the erection of liberty poles topped with a liberty cap, another symbol of the goddess, and a flying liberty flag was a very popular and powerful symbol. There is also, of course, the Lady with the Lamp, Lady Liberty enlightening the world. She is the noble symbol of America, offering its incomparable liberties, religious and political liberty, as well as freedom from want and from fear. Another ancient mystery school symbol of liberty found in the symbol system of America is the caduceus. Here, the caduceus is shown in the hand of an American Indian in this French medallion extolling Louis XVI as America's liberator, which bears the portraits of Washington and Franklin. The caduceus became the symbol of the House of Representatives. The original Capitol caduceus was destroyed by the British, shown here as a replacement copy that stands today on the Capitol rostrum. The Capitol caduceus, called the mace, is used to restore order in an unruly chamber. The chair would and still could instruct the sergeant-at-arms to parade up and down the aisles of the House floor with the mace held high, or to stand directly in front of a disruptive member with the mace. The sight of this symbol of authority was to remind the members of their duty to uphold the dignity of the House of Representatives and behave better. The caduceus is traced to ancient Egypt, where it was the symbol of the god Thoth, who is credited in Egyptian lore with being a god of magic and also the designer of the Great Pyramid. The Greeks called him Hermes, the Romans called him Mercury. As the god of both commerce and alchemy, the bird-headed Thoth was the master of the Eye of Horus mystery schools. This brings us to the one symbol above all others that represents the beliefs and intentions of the Founding Fathers: the magical pyramid and glowing all-seeing eye on the Great Seal of the United States. Designed in 1776 under the watchful eye of Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams, the Great Seal is the logo for the American enterprise. Every time one uses a US $1 bill, they come in contact with the energies and mysteries of this amazing symbol. Yet, the precise meaning of this symbol is unknown to most. The all-seeing eye symbol is ancient, many know, but what is the land of its origin and what is its meaning? Did it originate in Egypt or somewhere else? If you have ever wondered how this symbol came to be placed on the dollar bill, the answer is it was placed there in 1935 by President Franklin D. Roosevelt at the request of his Secretary of Agriculture, Henry A. Wallace, and Nicholas Roerich, a world-famous Russian mystic who President Roosevelt had sent to Mongolia in 1934 in search of the secrets of Jesus. Officially, Roerich had been sent to Mongolia to search for drought-resistant grasses. However, as reported in Newsweek magazine, it was common knowledge in the halls of the Roosevelt administration that Nicholas Roerich had been sent to Mongolia by FDR to look for the secrets of Jesus and the Holy Grail. Intriguingly, the symbol for Meru, the center of Shambhala where Roerich journeyed, is strikingly similar to the all-seeing eye. Meru was also the name of the center of Atlantis. A tracing board of the Freemasonic Rose Cross grade features an eagle in a pyramid with the radiant orb, another symbol of Meru. Freemasons believe the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill represents the second coming of a Christ or Messiah. A key Rosicrucian drawing from the 16th century portrayed Jesus atop a radiant pyramid, a rose, red, or fiery cross. It is clear that the all-seeing eye of America is a reference to Christ. The similarity of this symbolism raises one of the great questions of the 20th century. What exactly did Nicholas Roerich find on behalf of FDR in this quest for the Grail and the secrets of Jesus in Mongolia in 1934? And did this discovery prompt him to place the all-seeing eye symbol on the back of the $1 bill? Today, the intrigue surrounding the all-seeing eye grows. When the Information Awareness Office, a division of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, attempted to use the all-seeing eye, projecting a beam of light onto the Earth and its logo in 2003, it caused a firestorm of controversy. As a consequence, this symbol was removed from the agency's website. The power of this symbol is often feared, yet its meaning in history is not secret. History records that the Eye of Providence was first introduced to the Great Seal by the Swiss artist du Cimetière, an acquaintance of Franklin, Jefferson, and Adams. He was the first to sketch a design for the Great Seal that included the image of an eye within a triangle. Du Cimetière's sketch has survived and is produced here. We see Liberty with her liberty pole and cap, the symbol of the open eye of the mind, flanking the eye. The banner, E pluribus unum, out of many, the one, appears later in the mouth of the eagle on the Great Seal. In 1782, William Barton presented a design for the Great Seal. It consisted of an unfinished pyramid with 13 levels, surrounded by a motto and topped by a radiant eye. In this 1856 engraving of the Great Seal made by the artist Benson J. Lossing, the goddess Liberty and Justice once again flank the all-seeing eye. On the reverse side are scenes of Moses conversing with the deity in the burning bush and of the Israelites parting the Red Sea and escaping from the Pharaoh. This was a theme favored by Thomas Jefferson. What did the Founding Fathers intend for us to deduce from this symbolism? Did they intend to connect themselves with the Israelites escaping oppression? Or did they select it as a means to connect themselves with the early Christian mysteries? Does the fact that the Founding Fathers were Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and Knights Templar have anything to do with this selection of symbolism? And by investigating these secret societies, can we in fact bring meaning to the selection of these symbols? Let's begin to answer these questions by examining the symbols attached to Thomas Jefferson, perhaps the most mysterious founding father. Most know Jefferson penned the Declaration of Independence. Often overlooked is the fact that Jefferson's interest in codes and ciphers earned him the title of Father of American Cryptography. His wheel cipher, invented in the late 1700s, was still in active use by spies up until World War II. Jefferson was also deeply interested in American antiquity. He attempted to match the hieroglyphs of the ancient Mi'kmaq people of the Atlantic coast with those of ancient Egypt. A limited but recognizable Egyptian vocabulary is present in the Mi'kmaq language. Bluntly, historians have no idea how this occurred. Jefferson was also deeply interested in the mounds of ancient America. As president, Jefferson sent William Dunbar into Arkansas in search of ancient mounds. Where are they? What's in them? Who were the ancient Americans? Jefferson wanted to know. On their way westward, Lewis and Clark were to report to Jefferson on the Indians and their monuments, especially their mounds, like the immense pyramid at Cahokia, Illinois, and ancient graves. From the very beginning of Cortez's conquest of Mexico, the conquistadors recognized the Great Pyramids of Mexico as centers of religious and political power that were also military bastions. However, when similar structures were discovered in the United States, they were shrugged off by many scholars as mere mounds, despite the resemblance to pyramids. Were the early American pyramid builders descendants of a long-lost race? Many legends speak of a golden age in an old-world civilization that was destroyed by a cataclysm. It had many names, such as Eden, Atlantis, and Shambhala. One day, it would be rediscovered. El Dorado is the Western equivalent of these utopias. Is this what put wind in the conquistadors' sails? The idea that somewhere beyond the ocean lies a new world, a land of dreams where a paradise of gold called El Dorado was to be found? It was believed to be the home of the Golden Man, where a fountain of universal wisdom was to be found and the oppressed man could find freedom. The conquistadors of Europe soon discovered and pillaged the American kingdoms of the Maya, the Aztecs, the Incas, the mound builders, and their ancestors, whose old world civilization, Atlan, had been destroyed by cataclysm. Accompanying the El Dorado legends were the tales of the 7 cities of Cibola that the natives of Mexico spoke of, which all conquistadors knew were fabulously wealthy and rich with gold and blue stones. The pueblos of New Mexico were early associated by the Spaniards like Coronado with the 7 cities of Cibola and with the legend of El Dorado. And these are likely the same as the 7 islands of the Blessed, the surviving islands of Atlantis. Instead of heading for the Pueblo, one conquistador, Hernando de Soto, headed for Arkansas. There are many accounts of De Soto's journeys, and they all don't agree on exactly where he went during this period of his expeditions or what the exact orders of his travels were, but the fact that he was in Arkansas has been confirmed from several sources. Why De Soto came to Arkansas in search of Cibola when the best evidence said it was in the southwestern, not the southeastern quadrant of America, was a puzzle to me, and likely to Thomas Jefferson. An answer is provided when we examine the word Cibola using standard mythological practices. When the vowels are interchanged, Cibola becomes Sabala. Pronounced with a hard C, this word is Kabbalah, the Jewish system of mysticism. With a soft C, Sabala is phonetically Sabala, which is another form of the name Shambhala, where FDR sent Nicholas Roerich in search of the secrets of Jesus. El Dorado is considered to be the Western name for Shambhala. We will return to the subject of the Kabbalah in a moment. Myths say that atop mystic Mount Meru, the mountain of Shambhala, is Mount Ida, where sacred knowledge is deposited in a repository of pure quartz crystal. It so happens that Mount Ida, Arkansas, just off De Soto's path, has the purest quartz crystal found anywhere in the world. Does this explain the true reason why De Soto came to Arkansas? Was William Dunbar later sent by Thomas Jefferson to the Mount Ida region in search of the same secrets sought by Hernando de Soto? These questions and connections take us to the heart of America's treasures and leads to an explanation for why the caduceus, the symbol of Hermes, and the Kabbalah is one of America's secret symbols. Taking this one step further, we find that Sabala, again the root of Shambhala, is another word for Kabbalah, the mystic arts of Hebrew mysticism. The Kabbalists were kin of the alchemists who knew the secrets of gold or light, and both were kin of the Freemasons and Rosicrucians. The origin of the Hermetic Kabbalah can be placed in Renaissance Italy in the last decade of the 15th century. It heralded a century of Atlantean achievement that brought the likes of Leonardo da Vinci to the human experience. It is said that Queen Isabella gave a Zohar, an illumination stone, to Columbus to aid him in his journey in 1492. Jewish legend claims this stone was chipped from the great primordial crystal. Though a latecomer to America, Columbus is certainly among the most mysterious explorers. His name translates as Christ-bearing dove. He was shown on a map carrying Christ to America. Did Columbus carry a piece of the great primordial crystal to America, or was he perhaps in search of the original pure quartz crystal repository of the ancient myths and legends? Is this what was sought by Hernando de Soto and even perhaps Thomas Jefferson as well? At around the same time that Columbus was sailing to America, from the court of the great banking family of the Medicis in Florence sprang the Platonic Academy, which set about translating the works of Plato, including the story of Atlantis. A bundle of manuscripts lost for centuries and dating back to the 1st and 2nd centuries AD was discovered. This was the Corpus Hermeticum, a series of 18 documents relating to Hermes or Thoth that the Medicis funded the translation of. Suddenly, at the turn of the 15th century, the mysteries and destinies of America and the ancient god Hermes or Thoth were suddenly becoming entwined. Did Jefferson's interest in codes in ancient America and Egypt take him into the shadowy world of ancient, secret-obsessed societies operative during his time, such as the Freemasons and Rosicrucians? Was Jefferson an illumined one as widely thought? Though Jefferson's membership in secret societies has never been proven, he did reference one of them, the Illuminati, in his writings. It is claimed his trunk full of arcane research on ancient languages was stolen while en route from the White House to Monticello after his presidency and thrown into the James River. Rosicrucian historians claim that a Rosicrucian code has been found in one of Jefferson's remaining notebooks. Even today, Thomas Jefferson is still a man of tremendous mystery. What about the other founding fathers? It is well known and documented that many of the other founding fathers were Freemasons. St. John's Lodge, founded at the Bunch of Grapes Tavern in Boston in 1733, was a meeting place for early Freemasons such as Paul Revere, George Washington, and John Hancock. Familiar to every American are the paintings of George Washington as president. Perhaps less familiar are the paintings of George Washington in his full Masonic regalia, including the all-seeing eye on his apron. Or Washington portrayed as the Greek god Zeus. When this statue was unveiled in the rotunda of the Capitol in 1841, one eyewitness said it was the most godlike thing he had ever seen. Others were disappointed, saying it looked like Washington was either entering or leaving a bath. The controversial statue was moved out of the rotunda to the East Garden. Today, it's found in the Smithsonian. The idea of Washington as a divine being was popular. The apotheosis of George Washington portrays the transmutation or metamorphosis of Washington from a man into a God-man. In addition, Washington was portrayed as Moses receiving the new law, the United States Constitution. These portrayals reveal volumes about the beliefs of the Founding Fathers and point to the wellspring of symbols from which they drew and embodied. Poring over these symbols puts us in the mindset of the Founding Fathers and connects us with the mysteries to which they allude, the means to connect with divinity. The letter G above Washington's head in these depictions is thought to represent God, the great geometer. Interestingly, the G happens to be the Mayan symbol for the Milky Way. Curiously, this symbol also appears above the exits to the U.S. Senate chamber. This painting is William Williams' 1794 portrait of Washington in Masonic robes and apron. The Masonic apron is derived from a similar apron worn by the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. One of the two life-size statues of King Tutankhamun portrays him wearing his pharaonic kilt apron, which ultimately symbolizes the stairway to heaven. Hence, the pyramid appears frequently on 18th century Masonic ceremonial aprons. Such aprons were worn by early Masonic masons or builders in their craft to carry the tools of their trade. These symbols represent the higher knowledge to which Freemasons aspire. One such apron is now in the collection of the Masonic Temple Supreme Council in Washington, D.C. The symbols on this beautiful apron represent the firmament from which the universe was born. The sun, as a female angel, represents rebirth in the stars of the pure souls. The plumb line symbolizes the master builder and epitomizes uprightness and truth. The leveling boards symbolize the ability of the Mason to level out the rough spots of his personality. The pyramids locate the origin of the craft. The beehive is the Masonic Lodge itself. The Temple of Solomon with its checkerboard courtyard represents the black and white choices faced by the Mason. Two pillars called Jachin and Boaz represent the duality between punishment and mercy, and the five-pointed star with the G represents divinity. In the center of this symbol is the Ouroboros, the symbol of alchemy. Within the Ouroboros is the skull and crossbones, another Knights Templar symbol. The compass refers to the great architect, God. The set square to the pursuit of Freemasonry to be on the square in search of the divine knowledge of Solomon and Hermes, which makes one set square with God. The acacia branch represents the tree of life and the afterlife. We had seen this symbol in the Hand of America earlier. Benjamin Franklin established the oldest lodge in America in Philadelphia in 1731 and was its Grand Master. As an entrepreneur and a person who believed in the concept of self-reliance and self-responsibility, Benjamin Franklin would have been very interested in the principles of Freemasonry. The Freemasons possessed valuable secrets, but nothing about Freemasonry is secret. The body of secret knowledge, the skill of the wise, which is revealed in stages to the candidate, is an allegorical reference to the mind of man. And the secrets of Freemasonry are the secrets of the subconscious of each and every person. In the 18th century, Freemasons gathered in America for a specific purpose. This was to gather together people of different origins and different opinions and enable them to work on a common project, the creation of a temple, an invisible temple for the entire human race, a temple of democracy. Each religion in the view of Masons is like a shard of a broken mirror. We are able to pick up pieces of this mirror and think we have the truth. In reality, we have but a piece. Freemasonry is in a sense a school of self-transformation. By studying the symbols of the craft, the individual discovers the secrets of self-improvement. By absorbing the symbols, the student triggers abilities latent within themselves. As he comes to know himself, he learns to scale the ladder to heaven. He is lifted or raised above ordinary men. In addition to being Freemasons, George Washington and Benjamin Franklin are widely considered to be Rosicrucians, a sect of philosophers whose symbol was a rose and a cross. Physics, metaphysics, and the very modern-sounding hyperphysics were the primary areas of research of the Rosicrucians. Examining the symbols of the Rosicrucians, it is easy to see how they were cut and pasted and applied into the symbolism of the Great Seal of the United States. Freemasonry preserved the ancient ideal of the Rosicrucians, who traced their roots deep into antiquity. This Rosicrucian painting features Leonardo da Vinci as a Rosicrucian master with Jacques de Molay, the last Knights Templar. Following the trail of Leonardo's unusual helmet, we are led to Babylon in the 8th century BC and the sun god Shamash, and the gods of ancient Babylon who worshipped the Tree of Life. The Regius manuscript, the oldest Freemasonic history, cites Nimrod, the builder of the Tower of Babel, as the founder of the craft of Masonry. The first and most excellent master, they called him. The Tower of Babel was the ladder, gate, or stairway to heaven that was destroyed. Some Masonic researchers believe the Statue of Liberty is a model of the ancient Tower of Babel. The Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor was presented in 1884 as a gift from the French Grand Orient Temple Masons to the Masons of America in celebration of the centenary of the First Masonic Republic. In his original model of the Statue of Liberty, Bartholdi, her sculptor, imagined Liberty standing atop a radiant pyramid. The American pedestal builders, who were Masons, produced a more exotic design. The Statue of Liberty stands upon a Babylonian-style ziggurat in honor of the founder of Freemasonry, Nimrod. Tracing Nimrod symbols, we find that he was a devotee of the Sumerian god Aya, who is symbolized by the all-seeing eye. Aya was the god of smithcraft and alchemy and was frequently portrayed as the pupil in the eye. Tracing this symbolism to Assyria, we see the eagle-headed gods flanking a radiant pillar of life, a liberty tree, with the eye of God hovering above. A virtually identical scene is found on this Freemasonic apron. By following this path, we have traced the all-seeing eye symbol to its earliest known reference. In order to comprehend the symbols of the Founding Fathers, we must become acquainted with Sir Francis Bacon, the founder of Rosicrucianism and the founder, according to many, of modern Freemasonry. Bacon was an author, scientist, philosopher, and politician at the courts of Queen Elizabeth I and James I, who authorized a new translation of the Bible. As founder of the Virginia Company, Francis was largely responsible for drawing up, in 1609 and 1612, the two charters of government for the Virginia colony named for Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen. These charters were the beginnings of constitutionalism in North America and the germ of the later Constitution of the United States of America. Bacon is also the author of the celebrated New Atlantis, a novel in which he imagined a technologically and spiritually advanced utopia arising on the shores of North America. Atlantis is the catch-all phrase for the ideal civilization of many secret societies. It once existed, they say, but was destroyed by a cataclysm. Its capital was a great city on a hill. The New Atlantis was Bacon's vision for a new golden age or a new Jerusalem, a utopia in America governed by the House of Solomon and led by a wise king named Solomon, likely after the biblical king. Published in 1627, the year after his death, it became the inspiration for many influential American colonists, including several of Bacon's descendants who settled in Virginia after its publication. While living in Europe as a youth, Bacon, a prodigy, was initiated into the mysteries of the Order of the Knights Templar and the true secret of Masonic origin. The legendary Knights Templar treasure, discovered beneath the site of Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem, is widely considered to be one of the greatest treasures in all of human history. An enormous hoard of gold, a cache of manuscripts from the reign of the pharaoh Akhenaten in ancient Egypt, and alchemical formulas are mentioned as composing the core of this treasure. It is still undiscovered. Acting on inside information supplied by the Rex Deos families, the original Knights Templar performed enormous excavations beneath the site of Solomon's Temple. This information is believed to have originated with the Essenes. The Rex Deos families claim descent from the 24 elders of the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem at the time of Jesus. They also claim to possess the true secret teachings of Jesus and are dedicated to bringing about the new kingdom of heaven on earth. The Templars claim to have been heirs of the Essenes, the sons of light, and the priesthood of Melchizedek, the high priest of Jerusalem who instituted the Holy Grail ceremony called the Eucharist. Melchizedek founded an order of high initiates who knew the secrets of enlightenment. Whatever the Templars found, it appears to have aided them when they returned to Europe and inaugurated the Cathedral Age. Whatever the Templars discovered, and theories vary from the Ark of the Covenant to an ancient sacred geometric formula based on the octagon or polygon, the shape of the Dome of the Rock, which the Templars christened the Templum Domini and consecrated as their mother church, this knowledge allowed them to build a building that instead of being a collection of odd notes, became harmonious chords in stone. This is a model of the Abbey Church at Saint Denis in Paris, the first Gothic cathedral, as it was around 1148, soon after the Templars returned from Jerusalem. With its pyramid-topped obelisk, we can see that it closely resembles the form of Solomon's temple with its enormous 20-story high front porch. The Masons coded their secrets into the stone of the cathedrals. The true secrets of Freemasonry, we are told, can only be ascertained from an understanding of these great Gothic cathedrals. Those involved with the construction of these great Holy Grail temples, as they are called, each left a personal mark on the stone pieces they transformed for these great works. These marks are virtually identical to the hieroglyphs of the ancient Mi'kmaq people of the Atlantic and of ancient Egypt. Perhaps for the first time since the building of the Great Pyramids, the secret science of the ancients was encoded into architectural monuments. Rose windows blossomed in the cathedrals throughout Europe. As the scattered light showered the walls with a multicolored kaleidoscope of jewels, the Masons believed they had transformed the invisible light of God into the visible, the unknown to the known. This effectively enabled them to create a new Jerusalem, the jeweled heavenly city of crystal on earth. This was the goal of the Rosicrucians. In fact, the rows of octagons, the symbol of the Rosicrucians, is found in the south bell tower of Chartres Cathedral. It forms the base for a tapering crystal-like steeple. 8 is the number of the god Thoth. This message of Christmas greetings sent by Michael Meyer to King James I in 1612 is set out in the shape of an 8-petaled rose. The 8-petaled rose significantly is also the symbol of Shambhala. It has been claimed that the Templars' ultimate objective was to restore the kingdom of heaven on earth. Francis Bacon called this the New Atlantis. These ideas form the basis for the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, which promises liberty to all. Baconian scholars believe that temple treasure may have been revealed to Bacon, who enciphered the secrets of this treasure in the numerous works he penned or had a hand in publishing. It is claimed with persistent controversy that Bacon covertly guided the King James Bible in 1610, which introduced English as a literary language, and also the works of William Shakespeare into fruition. A true initiate, he hid his secrets in cryptograms buried in works his workshop produced. One of Bacon's cryptograms is the name William Shakespeare. It is claimed that Bacon took the name Shakespeare from Pallas Athena, the goddess of wisdom, the muse of Thomas Jefferson, who is called the spear shaker. Another of her names is Minerva, one of the many primary symbols of America. The British program for establishing permanent settlements along the Atlantic coast was under Francis Bacon's direction. Many members of the Rosicrucians and other secret societies emigrated to America and established their organizations in the New Atlantis. Scholars claim there are missing chapters to Bacon's New Atlantis and that these were buried in a vault in Williamsburg, Virginia, along with other treasure. Sailing on the Mayflower, the ship named after the flower of May, the lily or flower of light, the Puritans came to Massachusetts, where the Templar family, the Sinclairs of Scotland, with Templars, had been 2 centuries earlier, 100 years before Columbus. Their intention was to create a new Atlantis in the American wilderness. It was at the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, that the intelligent and highly impressionable young Thomas Jefferson came under the decisive influence of the only lay member of the faculty, Dr. William Small, a professor of mathematics and natural philosophy. Small had recently come over from Scotland to teach at the Anglican College and had brought with him many of the leading ideas of the Scottish Enlightenment, ideas which challenged religious orthodoxy and promoted the scientific philosophy of John Locke and Francis Bacon. Many historians believe Bacon's cache of documents to be among the world's most important missing treasures. Other historians believe that Thomas Jefferson actually discovered this treasure while at William and Mary. Thomas Jefferson was the last to see these documents. It is claimed he secretly hid them beneath the University of Virginia, which he founded. One of Thomas Jefferson's 3 proudest accomplishments was the founding of the University of Virginia. It may be his greatest cipher. Based on Bacon's Rosicrucian concept of the invisible college, the University of Virginia was viewed by Jefferson as a new Library of Alexandria, where students were given the opportunity to learn without the burden of theological restraint. It has been theorized that within Jefferson's architectural design of the university are hidden the teachings of the mystery schools and secret societies. Jefferson knew that treasure hidden in books could be lost, but treasure hidden in the design and masonry of buildings is more conspicuous and sturdy. One of Jefferson's most cherished designs was the circle within the square. This is a primary symbol of Leonardo da Vinci and one of the great secrets of Freemasonry. Both the combination of a dome or rotunda set within a square, as is found in Jefferson's famous home at Monticello, or a dome set within a rectangle, as is incorporated in the Capitol building of the United States, were known to Freemasons to symbolize the union of heaven and earth. This architectural design was more than just visual aesthetics to Freemasons. They believed that if they created physical structures that mimic the harmonic golden ratio found in nature, the forces of nature would manifest through them. In so doing, they could embody the sacred geometry and its symbolism. The layout of Jefferson's second home at Poplar Forest matches a Rosicrucian rose. Jefferson claimed that when he sat in the center of this room, he saw visions of antiquity. In addition to Thomas Jefferson, others claim George Washington recovered Bacon's missing chapters and that he placed these underneath the Capitol during the Masonically controlled laying of the cornerstone ceremony. In paintings of this ceremony, Washington is garbed in full Masonic regalia. Originally, the United States Capitol had no dome. The Capitol is called the Hill for a very good reason, they say. Mythologically and historically, it is the place where the gods ruled the people. Hill is tel in Hebrew, and in Greek it is poli. Politics is the business of the hill and harkens back to ancient Atlantis. Subsequently, say Masonic researchers, the Capitol and the White House were each to become focal points of an elaborate sacred geometry governing the layout of the nation's capital. This geometry, originally devised by the French architect Pierre L'Enfant, was subsequently altered by Washington and Jefferson so as to produce specifically octagonal patterns incorporating the Rosicrucian octagonal cross used by Masonic Templars. In 1855, Congress authorized and funded work on a new dome for the United States Capitol. The old dome was removed as shown in this photograph from 1856. In 1861, construction commenced on the dome of the hill. It contains one of America's greatest national treasures. High atop the dome is a statue of freedom. However, it is on the inside where the real treasure of the Capitol dome is to be discovered. Inspired by the Pantheon in Paris, Thomas Walter's interior revision introduced a monumental mythological painting suspended over the oculus of the new inner dome. What we discover is that Mercury, or Thoth, offers a bag of gold to Robert Morris, the financier of the American Revolution. Vulcan, the Greek Hephaestus, and the Sumerian Aya, god of smithcraft or alchemy, is also there. We also see young America wearing the Liberty Cap, standing beside Ceres holding a cornucopia. Here we see the bearded Neptune with trident and Aphrodite holding the Atlantic cable that united America and Europe and opened transatlantic communication and revived the idea of the new Atlantis as a place of communication. Neptune holds the trident, a symbol of Atlantis, seen previously in the French medallion celebrating the liberation of America, the new Atlantis. Here, Minerva speaks to Benjamin Franklin, who watches a mason. But the centerpiece of it is the apotheosis of George Washington. Once again, the transformation of the founding father of America into a divine being. I hope you have enjoyed this brief introduction to the signs and symbols of America's founding fathers, and that has revealed to you some national treasures that you may or may not have known existed. As we have seen, the founding fathers carefully chose this symbolism to align themselves with some of the highest spiritual beings and aspirations of all of humankind. Beneath the surface is a quite intriguing concept, this idea that the founding fathers intended America to be a new Atlantis, a new city on the hill, a beacon of light to the rest of the world, bringing about the enlightenment of humanity through democracy. And I hope that you will continue this adventure by personally investigating the myths and mysteries that the founding fathers wished for us to discover within ourselves and within our society. For it is these signs and symbols that make America the great nation that she is. Thank you, and I'm William Henry.